want people, like, we believe in the product,
Yeah, the
and we
more
believe
the
in the
merrier.
experience.
Like,
So we want
the
there
more
to be
that
more of it
open, like
for
the more the
everybody.
name gets out and the more popular. It's like Starbucks. Like there's a Starbucks and there's a Starbucks down the street, and both of them do over $1 million a year. Like it's not competition. It's just getting the word out.
There's a Kroger, so I guarantee there's a Starbucks,
There's a Starbucks in there.
Yep.
And I guarantee there's a Target around here.
There's one
Also
over there,
yes.
across
So,
there.
Yep.
Yeah. Probably.
There's also a
within
Starbucks
5
next to the Target.
It's so funny when I've read that.
I don't get it.
Like,
But they
I
both
really
stay
don't.
busy.
But they're both.
course.
They're all of them are doing $1 million plus in revenue here. So it's the same
Make it
thing.
and
Like
coffee. Yeah.
it's not competition. It is like the more the merrier. The more there are, the more the word gets out.
Yes.
The more people that are going to go to it, and just because there's another one, let's say there's another one half an hour away, maybe that's like their home location, so they're not going to come to our bar anyway. That's like their home bar. It's close to where they live. But if they're in this area, they're like, oh yeah, there's Kava Culture right there. Now, boom, somebody's coming in there. So it's not competition.
No.
It's just we need more of these around here. So hopefully there is some more future franchisees like coming into this area.
Yeah.
And people are learning more about Kava,
Yep.
Kana, like all of the things that they need to be learning about anyway.
Yep.
But obviously, like you guys have already done, and your wonderful Kava tender told me, you know, people are learning where in the world it's coming from as well, and like the history behind it and everything. And I think that's absolutely amazing because we need more of that kind of thing. And again, we need to start having a different relationship or reevaluating our relationships when it comes to alcohol and plants and everything like that. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean,
and knowledge is power.
And
It is,
so I
yeah.
will say, and Michaela. So Michaela was your Kava tender.
Yeah.
So she's by far the best as far as giving the history of it goes. Like
She's deep
hers
dived
is
into
super
it, yeah.
detailed. Like I've had to tell her before. I'm like, all right, it doesn't need to take 6 minutes to explain like what.
Kava is.
So give them the quick version, do your bula, and then afterwards when they're having a drink, then tell them the history.
Right.
So, but she's the best with giving the full detailed version. Like she knows everything there is to know about it, like easily. Like I forgot what I was saying. I totally forgot what I was saying.
Well, I mean,
Like,
speaking of which,
I lost
like,
my train of thought.
when you guys got into it, obviously, you started learning about it and going down the rabbit hole. What have you guys learned the most that before you were just like that tea you guys were talking about? Like,
Yeah.
you were just rolling that off. Like,
Yep.
you've said it 1,000 times.
I have said it 1,000
Yeah,
times.
yeah.
So I didn't know the difference in kratom, like kratom extract, and the actual plant that it comes from either. Like I have seen kratom in CBD stores. I've seen kratom in like gas stations and stuff, and I always like just put that together with like a smoke shop or something like that. But that's not what it is. Like that's not what Mitragina speciosa tea is. We call it elixir because nobody's going to say Mitragina speciosa
lots of-
all
it's about-
fucking
it doesn't
day.
really
Like,
roll off the tongue.
Yeah.
I
I've
didn't think
said
about
it a
that
lot.
when they named it.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's like the scientific term, but like that was probably like learning the difference between those two things, and that's why you said it sounded like I've said it 1,000 times. I have said it. I tell everybody that because like there is a huge difference between one and the other. It's not bad. Like it's not it's not an opioid. It's not any of this negative
Yeah, you're not
stuff
gonna get
that
addicted to
people.
it.
Right,
You
and
can't.
that's part
The
of-
amount of the tea that you would have to drink to get even close to like the addiction level of what you would get with the extract it was like 42 large drinks a day for like 390 days or some ridiculous amount that's never going to happen. Like you're never
You
going to
wouldn't drink
drink.
that much water in a regular day.
No,
Right.
you couldn't.
That's
I mean,
what we
that's,
try to tell people too.
that would be like drinking 450 ounces of water every day for 390 straight days. Like it's that level. It's not going to happen. You can't do it.
Right.
So like we make sure we explain that to people.
Yeah,
because that's like the biggest misconception.
But that's a big part of what we do too. Is like you probably got is educating at the beginning of what it is you're having because it's important for you to understand what it is you're having, how it's going to affect you, the experience of it, and we want people to leave here understanding and feeling comfortable with what they had, and then like we like them knowing the history, like you were saying that she told you, of where kava comes from because that's important too. Like we don't want to just take something.
Right.
We want to share like, man, this is special and this is why it's special and this is, how it came to be.
And we know there's like a lot of people that are very traditional with kava, especially like in the Polynesian culture. So that's why that's actually a big thing with Jacqueline and Caroline, they're the owners of Kava Culture and Botanical Brewing Company and Plant Tribals. So they want to keep everything like with the kava as traditional as possible. That's why we have like the Tanoa bowl up there. That's why the kava is brewed the correct way that it's supposed to be. So we know that there is a kava bar 40 minutes up that way in Denton that only does micronized kava. They don't double strain. none of that's, it's not done correctly, and we've had people come here and tell us that. That's how we know. It's not because we're going and trying it. We are having multiple people come and tell us that. And so, like, that is a huge thing with Kava Culture, is making sure it is done the traditional way. It's done correctly every time. Like, every batch is the exact same every time. It's all done the same way over and over and over. So it doesn't matter if you come on a Wednesday or a Friday night. It doesn't matter who's working. All the batches are identical. Like, you're going to get the same flavor and effect every single time across
I
the
think one of the things that like I'm most proud of is we've had Polynesians come in because there's a pretty large population in the HEB area.
Polynesian
Yeah,
culture
and
in this.
we've gotten like
we've had 'em come
10 out of
in.
10 reviews across the
Yeah,
board.
they say it tastes
5
like
stars all
Kava at home, and I feel like that's the biggest trophy on our shelf
course,
is that like the Polynesian people who make it at home. Yeah, like we got their stamp of approval.
But like honoring the Polynesian like culture and tradition, that's part of why Michaela's from Hawaii. Like that's where she grew up at.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she knew what kava was before we were like when she put in her job application, she was like, "Oh yeah, I'm from Hawaii. I know. I've been drinking kava." We're like, "Oh, cool."
Right.
Yeah, we're like, "All right, well, when can you start?" But like Jacqueline and Caroline are really big about keeping that. Like it has to be honored. It has to be done the correct way. If it's gonna be done, it can't be done. So like everything's done as correctly as possible and traditional. Like that's part of the trend. Like they spend 4 days in training just learning how to do, like it has to be done exactly the same every time. And you don't get to work your own shift until you do it exactly perfect every single time.
Nice.
So
You're not taking from the culture, you're honoring the culture.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we're hoping to just show people what it is what it is. You know, like we just want to expose people to like this is a special thing. Like I said, like I feel like it's magic, and that's how they looked at it, was like it was a gift from God essentially to them, and so we want to let other people know and share that with them, and then like pay homage to them, or the root of the root, as Michaela puts it.
that's literally what she says. And so my train of thought came back from earlier. What I was going to say, one of the big things that we have noticed since we've been open is the same thing that happened to like us, and all of our kava tenders are sober now.
Whoa.
Nobody drinks alcohol anymore.
That's amazing.
So we have
Congratulations.
like
Yeah.
Fee right behind me that we were just talking to doesn't drink alcohol. Probably 70 to 80% of our regulars do not drink alcohol and have not drank it since we opened.
That's awesome.
They
We've
come
had a
here
few-
instead. Like the
yeah.
buzz is better. There's no reason, like when somebody comes here and gets the plant buzz and then they don't wake up with a hangover, they don't feel like they weigh 25 pounds more, they can't get a DUI on the way home.
Right.
None of those bad things that alcohol cause, like it's alcohol
Right,
is
not
alcohol is
keeping you
poison,
aware.
right? So it causes cancer. It's the second leading cause of cancer outside of tobacco. This does not. This has 45 calories. Alcohol has what, 200 per glass or something like that.
You know what you're drinking, yeah.
So
Yeah.
once you try it, nobody goes back. They're like, why in the fuck would I go actively consume poison that's going to do all these negative things when this feels better and none of this shit happens?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So we have a pretty much, like I said, the 70 to 80% of our regulars are 100% sober. All the kava tenders are sober, and 2 of them weren't before they started working here. We don't drink alcohol. So I mean,
so cool.
it's like that was one of the biggest things you notice is how many people do this instead of alcohol.
And that's something that they've shared because a lot of them have been bartenders before. And they've said, like, they would watch customers come in and they're regulars and they would watch them deteriorate in front of their eyes.
And it's
you know,
the opposite
more
direction.
they came. And exactly, they come in here, and we've had some people come in and they're seeking sobriety. And, like, they'll come in and say, I was having a really bad day. I was heading to the bar and I decided to stop here instead. And you watch that, you know, inverse of watching them come back to life essentially as they come in. Yeah, it's been really cool to see.
That's amazing.
Like some of the people, you can see some people's skin change when they stop drinking alcohol
without a
because
doubt.
alcohol
Their
like
eyes
fucking
get clearer,
destroys
their
your
Yeah.
skin.
skin's better,
So
everything
you'll
gets
see people
better.
like the first month versus like the 4th month we're open, and they like look a little different. Like they're lighter. You know, it's like your shirt's looser. So that was one of the biggest things we've seen too.
That's so incredible.
Yeah.
I never even thought about that because
Yep.
I didn't know if it was one of the things where people would just kind of be like super curious, where they still drink, but they still obviously.
Some of them do.
Some of them
Like
will
it's-
still
yeah.
have a drink every
But I
now
love
and
hearing
then.
the opposite, where
Yep.
they're like, nope, we're just done drinking.
But-
There's no
Yeah.
reason to. Like once it only takes one time of having like a storm breaker or a storm's end like you're drinking, or like a tap flight and a couple of green or red vein shots, and you're like, yeah, why would I go do the other thing again? So I actually have tried to drink a beer because I go to the boardroom for men, and you get a free beer when you go in there. So I go every Thursday. So I don't remember when it was.
Week?
Yeah, every Thursday.
Wow. Good for
I think
you.
tomorrow's 2 days. I got 2 more days.
Okay.
So it's membership. It's free. Like
okay.
you get if you have a membership, you can go 30 times a month if you want to.
Well, okay. That makes sense.
So, but you get a free beer when you go in. And I got one. I don't remember how long ago. It's within the last like 2 months or so. I was like, I want to like see. I just want to drink another beer. I got a Blood and Honey, which used to be the beer I got in there. Maybe like a third of it, and I was like, nah, this is nasty. So maybe it was just that particular beer actually always
I was going to
was
say
nasty.
some people argue now that does not taste the same as it used to.
Oh, interesting.
That could have been. Maybe that was it.
Could be what
But
it is, yeah.
like even just drinking a third of the bottle, I already felt like fatter. Like
that
not
thing is
even though I
so-
didn't get fatter, but like my stomach
you
felt
feel
more
bloat,
bloated. You
yeah.
feel the bloat. It was just I didn't have any like you do not have a desire to consume alcohol doing this, like drinking this. So
Yeah.
it kills the desire.
And I forgot to mention, one of the special things about Kava is it has a reverse tolerance. And so as where like most people would have to drink more and more alcohol to feel the effects of it, Kava, the more you have, the more often you have, the less you need to feel the effects. And so we'll do bulas with people coming in for the first time pretty regularly. And so we have it on a fairly often basis. And like now I can have a shell of Kava and like feeling great.
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't take much. So it's like special in a bunch of ways, but that's one of them.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Now, owning a business together and being married, is there a safe word where you guys have to stop talking about business, or
We were actually just talking about that the other day.
because there's always a balance because you still have to. I mean, yeah, you're business partners, and you essentially, if you're married, you're a business partner anyway.
Yeah.
But now you're extra business partners. Like, yeah, I guess that. Can you walk us through like how you guys have been trying to find that balance?
I mean, we were just talking about the other day how we don't like. It's like we should probably not talk about the bar today.
Yeah. Like we were going on a date and I was like, so we're not going to talk about it, right? Like we're going to try this.
That lasted like an hour and a half.
Yeah. But we made it like an hour and a half without it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we were. Yeah, it was about an hour and a half. Solid hour and a half.
So I would suggest someone not doing what we did because we opened the bar in our first year of marriage, which was probably not the brightest thing.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously we made it through it because we're still here wearing wedding rings.
Right.
But it's for sure a challenge. But I know I feel like he has a bunch of strengths that I don't have, and so I feel like he complements me personal and then also with the business. It's been really nice, and like I don't think we would be close to the success without him. So yeah,
What did I do?
you do all the stuff, not all stuff, but you do stuff.
I don't do that much.
He's a humble man. I like it.
Nah,
Take the
sometimes.
Sometimes.
All the time.
No.
Yeah, we do talk about it more than we probably should.
Yeah.
But
You'll find that balance.
We're working on
out
it,
there.
yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I have a segment on the show. I call it the 5 count. Just 5 random questions. Just
Okay.
answer as quick as possible.
okay.
What is yours? What song do you car karaoke to?
I mostly listen to either podcast or YouTube in the car, so
I was gonna say I do Joe Rogan like
I
that.
was gonna say
Yeah.
she does Joe Rogan. I usually there's a couple of YouTube like Mr. Ballin and there's a couple other YouTube channels that I'm that's I get in the car and I like turn on
I'll
and I just
say,
let it play through the car.
Right.
yeah.
I Want It That Way though was our first road trip, like
The Backstreet
Backstreet Boys
That
karaoke.
way.
So that would probably be the one that we would bust
that was
out.
years
Good
ago.
one then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's everybody's karaoke song.
It's not a bad one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an easy go-to.
If you were a pro wrestler or MMA fighter, what would your name be?
I'm gonna steal the name from I don't know. I was gonna steal my drink's name, Stormbreaker.
Say like
It's also Thor's axe.
something like Dynamite or something.
It's good. There's a whole actually
I
show
would go
called
with
Dynamite.
something else.
I mean, what was it?
I said I would go with something else
Like what?
for your name.
Just thinking like small package, big explosion.
You are small.
You are small.
Mighty Mouse.
What 4 dinner guests, dead or alive, would you have?
for dinner.